By the end of this video, you'll be better equipped to choose between these three great workstations. I'm going to be rating each keyboard in various areas. And stay tuned till the end because I'm going to give my recommendations on each keyboard and where it excels. Now before we get started, I want to say thank you for tuning in to Key Breakthrough. If this video helps in any way, please like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so the three keyboards we're looking at today, the Yamaha Mod X Plus, the Korg Nautilus, and the Roland Phantom O. Now this is my star rating system. 1 for poor, 2 for fair, 3 okay, 4 is good, and 5 is great. I'm going to rate the key bed, the screen, the controls, the ease of use, and the build quality of each of these keyboards. All right, let's jump in. First up, the Yamaha Mod X Plus. Okay, as we look at the key bed, this keyboard comes in 61 and 76 keys of semi-weighted action. It also has 88 key. Yamaha calls it their GHS key bed. So what do I think about the key bed? Now, in my experience with this keyboard, the 61 and 76 key bed is short. The keys are on a short side. And they also feel kind of flimsy. Out of the other keyboards I'm going to be comparing, this is definitely the weakest key bed of them all. Now the key bed on the 88 key is decent. It is kind of spongy. You know, the bounce back is kind of slow, but it's decent. It's not bad. How do I rate this? I'm going to give this an okay rating. The key bed on the Mod X Plus gets 3 stars. Let's talk about the screen. All right, on the Mod X Plus, you have a 7-inch TFT color wide VGA LCD touchscreen. What do I think about it? It has a nice size to it. It's a nice large screen, but it is a little laggy. There's not much else to say about it. I don't really have any more complaints. It's just laggy, but it's okay. So how do I rate it? I rate it a little bit better than okay. It has 3.5 stars. All right, it's not the greatest screen, but it is good. I like the size on it. All right, let's move on to controls. Now for controls, I'm going to be pointing out the controls that stand out. So I'm not going to cover every knob and button, no, but I will cover things that I think is significant for this keyboard. So for controls, you have an AD input gain knob, a USB volume knob, 4 control sliders, 4 knobs over those sliders, and a super knob. Now the controllers here that stand out to me the most, one is the super knob, right? Really cool knob. I think it's about 128 different parameters that you can assign to this knob, and you can control everything with one sweep. And you can also control the super knob with a pedal. Another thing to point out is the input gain and the USB volume knob. So this is simple, but it's so helpful to be able to plug up another keyboard or an iPad or a sound source and actually control it with a knob. Believe it or not, there's a lot of keyboards out there that allow you to plug up other things, but there's no easy way to control the volume. So I really like that they not only give you that for the AD input, but they also give you a knob for the USB audio input. So what do I rate this? For controls, I give it a little bit better than good. I give it 4.5 stars. My only complaint here right now is I wish I had more sliders, you know. Let's go next to the ease of use. How easy is this keyboard to use? Well, the sequencer is complicated. It's not straight ahead. When you compare it to the other keyboards on this list, it's actually the most difficult to kind of figure out. Another thing that's not easy is actually tricky is the layering. Now they addressed this issue with the latest flagship version of this, which is the Montage M. But for this keyboard here, you can't simply just pull up a scene or whatever and layer it, because some of the sounds take up more than one slider. So you'll have one sound that can take up probably 4 or 5 sliders. And so if you're trying to layer something, you run out of those sliders, and now you're moving multiple sliders. And so it's just not a straight ahead forward thing when you compare it to the other keyboards in this video. Now there is menu diving that's required for sound design. That's not saying too much when you're talking about a workstation keyboard, but it's not, everything's not there. So there is a level of difficulty to designing. What do I rate this for ease of use? I rate it okay, 3 stars. All right, let's talk about build quality of the Mod X Plus. What is the build quality? Well, it's a plastic chassis, so it's not bad. It keeps the weight down for sure, but it's kind of hollow feeling. So if you want a robust feeling keyboard, this is definitely not it. What I do like about the build quality is the buttons. They have the solid backlit buttons all throughout the keyboard, so that's probably the best feeling thing about this keyboard. But another strike against this keyboard is the external power supply. Now, I've had power supplies before in keyboards, but Yamaha seem to kind of do this. They have this type of adapter, and the thing about this is the prongs are thin, and they don't always stay in to the socket that you're plugging it into. I've had to actually tape down this adapter a few times during gigs just to make sure it doesn't fall out. So this isn't the best construction. And also on the other end, when you plug the adapter into the keyboard, that port is not protected, which means that if you were to step or pull or yank, you run a risk of loosening the connection port for the power. So that really kind of hinders it from being rated any higher than okay. The build quality is okay, 3 stars. Overall score for the Mod X Plus, 17 stars. All right, now let's move on to the Korg Nautilus. Let's talk key bed. All right, so the key bed here, it comes in 3 sizes as well, 61, 73 this time, and 88. The 61 and 73 key, Korg calls it their natural touch semi-weighted. It's basically like a synth action keys. And then on the 88 key is hammered action. They call it their RH3, real weighted hammer action 3. Now I've played on these, and these are sturdy and reliable key beds. These are the best key beds out of this whole category that I'm doing right now. And so I don't have too much complaints about it. You know, it's not the highest quality key beds, but it's good. So it earns 4.5 stars. Let's talk about the screen. On the Nautilus, you get an 8-inch 80 by 480 pixel WVGA color touch view display. That's a mouthful. All right, the screen, what do I think? Well, the size is generous. It's a pretty big screen. The touch screen is dated. It's kind of sluggish, and it is difficult on some of the menus. It's difficult to click, and you will click and you might not get anything, so you have to double click and triple click sometimes. But when I looked it up, I realized that this is a very old screen technology. Do you guys remember the Oasis? In all of its glory, it was incredible. But that keyboard came out 20 years ago. And guess what? This screen technology is the same screen technology from 20 years ago. All right. So how do I rate the screen? I rate this screen a little bit better than fair. It gets 2.5 stars. All right, let's talk controls. So the controls that stick out to me are the joystick. You get 8 knobs that are assignable, and also 6 assignable buttons. These buttons are called the quick access buttons. So my big gripe about the controllers here is a lack. All right, there's no sliders, and so when you're just doing things with the layering, it's always easier to have sliders than knobs. And so there's a big lack of controls. Other than that, there's no transport control section for the sequencer, and it's a pretty big lush sequencer inside here. So I don't have much more complaints, but No sliders, and it's definitely lacking controls overall. I will give this a rating of 3 stars for okay. Ease of use. Is this keyboard easy to use? It's okay. The sequencer is okay. You can figure it out. It might take some time, but it's manageable. But there is tons of menu diving for just about everything in this keyboard. Tons. I remember I did a factory reset, and I had to go to 3 or 4 different screens to do a factory reset. I wanted to upload the operating system, same thing. And some of the screens are tough to navigate, but that's due to and the screen does make things tough to navigate. I think we talked about the screen already, but that adds to the difficulty of this keyboard. So for the rating, for ease of use, I can only give it an okay, and that's being nice actually. 3 stars. All right, now the build quality. Okay, so the Korg Nautilus, all 3 of the sizes are built with a metal chassis. The 88 key also has an additional wooden end caps. Overall, the build quality actually match its price. This is the best build quality keyboard in this video. It has an internal power supply, something that you will only see in a higher quality keyboard. What do I rate the build quality? It gets a good, more than good, 4.5 stars. The Korg Nautilus overall scores a 17.5 stars. Next up, the Roland Phantom O. All right, so the key bit for this comes in 3 sizes, 61, 76, and 88 key. Now the 61 and the 76 keyboard comes with a synth action, velocity sensitive keys. The 88 key has a hammer action. Roland calls it their PHA4 progressive hammer action with escapement. So what do I think about the key bed? Well, the keys on the 76 and 61 are narrow, right? They're not bad, but they're on the narrow side. So if you have large hands, or if you're used to playing on 88 full hammered action, you will notice it will be difficult to play. Now the 88 key, the action is on the heavy side. It doesn't feel bad at all. It feels good, but just know that your hands, your wrists will get a workout. I've played on the PHA 4 action on the RD88 and other key beds or keyboards, and I will say that they're heavy. How do I rate the key bed? Overall, it's okay. 3 stars. Let's talk about the screen. On the Phantom O, the screen, you're dealing with a 5.5 inch, 1280 by 720 dots. It's backlit LCD color touchscreen. All right, so what do I think about the screen? Well, the image is sharp and it's very responsive to touch. This is my favorite screen out of all the keyboards, actually. Only gripe I have is that the keyboard screen could be larger. The screen could be larger. How do I rate the screen? I rate it for good, 4 stars. Let's talk controls of the Phantom O. The controls are plentiful. I mean, just a few that stands out are you get 2 ways to do pitch bend and mod wheel. You get 8 knobs and 8 sliders. You get 16 programmable pads, a T-Rec line of buttons. You get a bunch of other things too, but the things that really I want to harp on is that you have plenty of controls, 8 sliders, 8 knobs, and I'll tell you why that's so significant. All 3 of these keyboards, you can layer, some of them 16, you know, I think all of them 16 sounds at once. But the more sliders you have, the easier it is to access it especially during a live performance. 16 T-Rec buttons. Who doesn't love an easy way to just program a sequence, right? 16 pads. Even though the pads aren't velocity sensitive, the pads are great for cueing things and for getting quick beats out. Actually, the sequencer works really well with the pads. I was actually able to make a drone pad pack where I took all 12 keys and I laid them all out on the pads, and so it works really well. But it's basically the sequencer to work on everything in conjunction with the pads. But you can check that out on keybreakthrough.com. Go over there, check it out, it's pretty cool. Okay, so back to controls. How do I rate it? I will rate this pretty good with 4.5 stars. Let's talk about ease of use. For the Phantom, the layering is simple. It's easy to layer, and I say that because some of the other keyboards here, not quite so easy. The sequencing is moderate. It's not too difficult. It actually might be the easiest to sequence out of the bunch here. The one gripe I do have, effects. When you're doing your effects, it requires some menu diving. It's complicated actually. Figuring out how they route things and their terminology is not straightforward. Another thing that's difficult is the USB MIDI setup. That is definitely, you gotta open up a manual or pull up a YouTube video to figure that out. What do I rate ease of use for this keyboard? I rate it good, a little bit better than good, 3.5 stars. All right. Let's talk build quality of the Phantom O. Now this keyboard is also, just like the Mod X, is built with plastic chassis, but this plastic chassis is a little tougher. It's not as hollow filling as the Mod X Plus. So this is kind of a solid plastic. It also has an external adapter, but is implemented pretty well. Is surrounded by some type of support, so you can't really damage it. Not as easy as you can damage the port on the Mod X. So that's really, really handy there. How do I rate the build quality overall? It's good, 4 stars. So the Roland Phantom overall scored 19 stars. And this is how they all fared stacked up to one another. I do want to say that the star system or rating is just my opinion, and I do think each of these keyboards are great buys. They do so much, they all sound great. You notice I didn't go over sound because that's subjective to a point. But I will give my recommendations right now. What do I have? The final say for me on recommendations, if I were recommend, the best keyboard that you can just plug up and play with the great sounding presets out the box goes to the Mod X Plus. Yes, so when you cut this keyboard on, I have to say you don't have to do much tweaking at all. All the sounds are great. I mean, every category, you can just plug and play, record or gig, and you don't have to do anything to the sounds. They're already cut through the mix. The warm sounds are warm. The high sounds are high. I mean, it's there. Everything's polished already for you. All right, so the keyboard with the most complete feature set, that award goes to the Nautilus. So if you want a keyboard that can do pretty much almost anything, out of the bunch here, you would have to go with the Nautilus. It has the most complete sequencer out of the bunch. It has the most complete experience when it comes to sound design. You have 9 different engines. You have all these engines. You can do so much with this. It's still pretty much the most powerful keyboard, taking everything from the Korg Chronos, really. It still has that Korg Chronos inside of it, so it's very powerful. And the jack of all trades, if you want a keyboard that can do a little bit of everything and does it pretty well, I would tell you to go get the Phantom O. It shines in the studio, it shines on stage. This is a great all-around keyboard. You can layer, you can stack, you can program, sequence, and all the other keyboards on this video can do that, but this does it a lot more seamlessly and in a straightforward way. And I feel like this is the keyboard that covers all the bases and in a way where you can have a little bit, and it's not the master of any one thing, but it's definitely the best all around, in my opinion. Okay, so as we wrap up, I hope this video helped you on how to choose between these three great workstations. Thank you again for watching Key Breakthrough. Like, share, subscribe, comment, let me know. I know I'm going to have a lot of people speaking their minds on here, but that's what I want. I want to hear from you. All right, thank you so much. I'll catch you in the next video.